It's never about looking at China where it came from in their lab. It's never about the CDC. It's never about the WHO lying or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation lying. It's always the American people have to suffer no matter what. Doesn't matter who was wrong, who lied to who. No. We always have to suffer. But you know what? This look that you have going right now, I'm really digging it. Brandon, just another Dr. Gray here. I almost want, like, no, I'm serious. Like, we should do... Like, I mean, screw the whole coronavirus task force with Fauci and Birx is getting old. Like, you should just do, you and your team of just another team of doctors, you should do, like, your own mock, like, press conference, like, all official, like, with your lab coats, like, yes, well, we've actually determined that the CDC intentionally spread the coronavirus. And then people will look at it like, look at these kooks saying the CDC spread. But then it's the New York Times. So it's like, no, this is a fact. My, oh my, a big development that is happening right now as I'm sorting through my stacks of news, and Brandon Gray from justanotherchannel.com is about to join me. Major shift happening now as the mainstream. This is really interesting. How is this going to play out? Everybody who's just being honest and real about this knows that this came out of a lab in Wuhan, China. And so you've got UK defense secretaries, you've got Mike Pompeo, you've got a bunch of people saying, okay, we're looking at China. China's going to be investigated. And then you have Nancy Pelosi, mainstream media, and all these other people carrying the water for China, covering it up. Now, it's not just China, though. We're looking at the WHO. We're looking at the CDC. And in fact, I didn't even know this was going on until I was reached out to really early this morning. Protesters in Atlanta outside of the CDC facility there protesting the CDC's response to this. So again, folks, you know, when we're looking at millions of unemployment, April's going to be the worst month ever for unemployment. We're looking at the economy collapsing. We're looking at people wondering how they're going to get out of this. We're looking at an entirely different world on the other side of this. So the CDC also was part of the problem when it comes to this. So contaminated test kits, how is that not considered a crime against humanity? So Brandon Gray from justanotherchannel.com is with me, and a few protesters out there in Atlanta. So, Brandon, what is the story? You're out there in Atlanta outside of the CDC with some protesters.
Yes, sir, Owen. To sum it up, we're fed up, and we don't have amnesia. And stories like this that are broken by the New York Times when it comes to sloppy laboratory practices, we don't want America to forget about those headlines in this infomania that we're dealing with, you know?
Well, you know, Dr. Birx would be very unhappy that you're out there today. But I've noticed that you're in your lab coat. So you're pretty much as much of a doctor as Dr. Birx at this point. So from now on, we're going to call you just another doctor. So this is just another doctor. So we've got a group of doctors protesting outside of the CDC. But what has the response there been in Atlanta? Is it kind of a neighborhood area, or are there passerbys? Has there been a response from the community, the public?
You know, believe it or not, Owen, once people started, they were first kind of like, what are these guys doing? And then the moment they figured it out, they were giving us thumbs up. They're honking their horns, waving at us. It seems like the general public is pretty woke. And I don't mean like Twitter woke. I mean like, they got behind us once they figured out what we were doing. And we had some interesting little looks from the security guards and whatnot. But it was a very interesting protest. I think it was huge. We loved it.
Well, let me do the job that I'm sure the media that didn't show up didn't do. Was there media there asking you guys questions? My guess is no.
No, Fox News happened to be there at the same time we were, and I think they got some footage, but there was definitely no questioning of the protesters out there today.
So let me do the fake media's job that didn't do it there in Atlanta. Why the CDC? Why did you decide to be out here in front of the CDC in a doctor's lab coat?
That's a great question. And we've seen protests from Michigan to Texas, all at the Capitol. We're all asking for our rights back. But we need to call out these culprits, right? These are criminal organizations who, and if COVID-19 is as deadly as they say it is, then if their sloppy lab practices are causing contamination with the test kits, aren't they putting lives at risk? I mean, why is this just a conservative movement? And why aren't we hearing anything from the liberals when lives are literally at risk? And so we wanted to call the CDC out directly. Right, boys?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
There's just just another team of doctors there outside of the CDC in Atlanta. Well, look, this is just basic logic, and this is what's so frustrating. If you go to the beach, we've seen the videos, moms getting arrested at parks, patrons getting arrested at the beach. There was an incident here in Austin where a Texas Ranger was harassing some kids about social distancing. They ended up pushing him into the lake. I'm not sure if that's the right way to deal with this, but, you know, maybe a little shaming for these officers that are out of control is in order. So when you see these videos and you see citizens getting harassed for potentially spreading or not social distancing or what have you, but then the CDC spreads. This isn't conjecture or conspiracy theory. They have infected kits that they spread across the country, and they don't get arrested. Nobody's punished there.
Well, maybe if we're lucky, this will be like another Hillary investigation or a Peter Strzok investigation where, oh, there's all these investigations, but zero justice, zero results. We're out here calling out the CDC for their contamination and their sloppy lab practices, and that's where it's at. You know, America needs to be pissed off, and we need to hold these people to account because we're locked in our homes, we're forced to wear masks, and these guys just parade around with their sloppy laboratory practices. And yeah, if you scroll down on that article, the next paragraph says sloppy laboratory practices. I mean, hello. When can we get some justice and some accountability for these lives that are at stake here?
No, see, it's never about looking at China where it came from in their lab. It's never about the CDC. It's never about the WHO lying or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation lying. It's always the American people have to suffer no matter what. Doesn't matter who was wrong, who lied to who. No. We always have to suffer. But you know what? This look that you have going right now, I'm really digging it. Brandon, just another Dr. Gray here. I almost want, like, no, I'm serious. Like, we should do, like, I mean, screw the whole coronavirus task force with Fauci and Birx is getting old. Like, you should just do, you and your team of just another team of doctors, you should do, like, your own mock, like, press conference, like, all official, like, with your lab coats, like, yes, well, we've actually determined that the CDC intentionally spread the coronavirus. And then people will look at it like, look at these kooks saying the CDC spread it. But then it's the New York Times. So it's like, no, this is a fact.
Yeah, it is a fact. And, you know, Owen, we miss you out here. We were wishing that you'd be with us. Yeah, we knew you were here in spirit. But we, you know, here's the other thing. The lockstep plans from the Rockefeller Foundation, they talk about citizen pushback. They're prepared for citizen pushback. Well, let's push it back more than what they prepared us for. That's our goal, nonviolent, but we've got to push back harder than what they planned for in lockstep.
Yeah, and of course they were running the whole Event 201 where they said they were going to deal, how they're going to deal with fake news media, or what they claim would be fake news media reporting on this that ended up just being the real media. And so they've really had this measured out a long way out.
Yeah, they have. Absolutely. And my friend Thomas Siska, who's a comedian there in Austin, wanted to chime in on that real quick.
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
Say, yes, Dr. Thomas here. I wanted to say that the optics of having a lab coat on, it catches people's attention just the same way that when they take pictures of these alleged nurses and the scrubs and the masks standing in front of intersections for a second with a sign, that optic gets shown in the fake news media, and these people are seen as heroes, when in reality, they're also outside breaking these shelter-in-place protocols to also protest. So those people are treated as somewhat heroes by the media, when if you're out waving an American flag and saying, hey, we want to be free, they're the enemy. But the doctors and the nurses, they're these elitists that get the chance to speak up. So that's why we came up with this idea that
no. This is actually a really key point. Here, stick around for like 3 or 4 minutes in the next segment, because I actually realize exactly what you're saying, just kind of in a different light. which is explaining all these nurse TikTok videos. But you just hit it on a more advanced level that I didn't even think about. Like, I'm reading stories in the gate, but like, I'm not mad at the people that type, but they put Dr. Burks in the headline. She's not a damn doctor, okay? From now on, no. From now on, I want to be known as astrophysicist. I am now an astrophysicist astronaut that can shapeshift. That's right, doctor. Folks, we've made a lot of improvements over the course of the years here on the InfoWars War Room, thanks to your support at InfoWarsStore.com. I'm now happy to announce we officially have the War Room medical staff that I believe they're so busy they have had time to make a dance routine even. So this could be very key. All right, but seriously, this is what's so amazing about it. Let me say two things before we get to the point made. Folks, this is why when you go out like Brandon Gray with justanotherchannel.com, and it's not about optics, it's about realism. This is why when you go out with a microphone and a camera and you get a website, you become the media. That's not you pretending to be a doctor like Dr. Burks. That's you being the media. So you get the optics and then you have the victory because you are now the media. You get the optics of being the media, that ticks the mainstream media off. Then you get the victory of actually being the media. But that's kind of a different issue. What was said in the right before we went to break was the optics of wearing the doctor's outfit. Well, that's what they do. They put the doctor in front of Dr. Burks. She's not a doctor, okay? So we put on the doctor's lab outfit, and people think, oh, that's a doctor. I want to listen to them. And when I realized, but you took it next level, when I was watching these nurse dance videos, I realized what's really behind it when I realized that these have actually been going on for years, well before the coronavirus plandemic. Nurses have been making coordinated dance videos for years. So it's really just the old story of nurses have a bunch of free time. I'm not here to have that debate. I think nurses are great people. But you see, it's the optics of them being in the scrubs looking like doctors that makes the videos popular. And so they realize, okay, I'm not a real doctor, but I look like a doctor, and a doctor doing a dance video goes viral. So let's do that. And then all of these nurse dancing videos go viral. But your point was that, hey, they use optics against us. Why don't we spin that off and use optic against them? And that's why you're out there in lab coats.
Absolutely. You nailed it on the head. And really, one of the bigger things that I wanted to make sure we get out today on your show, Owen, is that millions of us, you guys are the worst online as far as being banned. We're getting banned. We're getting the little CDC overlays over our post where, Zuckerberg said the other day he directed 2.2 million people to the CDC to get the official information. Well, these guys have sloppy laboratory practices. How can we trust anything else from them? How can they be our authoritative source of coronavirus when they can't even, when they're contaminating test kits, Well,
it's even worse than that. They're lying to us about the whole thing too. And it's just so frustrating too, knowing that this is all such a hoax, and yet they're still changing the whole world over it. Like we're still, are we ever going to go back to what we knew America was? Like we were talking earlier, just in the break. I just happen to be watching. You guys are similar generations to me out there. I'm 30 years old. You guys may be a little older, a little younger, but same age. And so I was watching over the weekend. I was watching Mighty Ducks, okay, the movie Mighty Ducks, and then D2, and it's just like, it's a nostalgic thing, but like that really was what life was like as a kid growing up. We didn't care about race. We didn't care about economic status. Really, we didn't care about anything. You could say that's kind of a bad thing, and yeah, it had negative side effects, but overall, it was all about freedom and getting along, and they built all these little bubbles around us and all these little wedges and dividing factors. And I watch these old movies, or I watch like old sports, which are on now because there's no live sports, and it's like a weird window into that time that wasn't dominated by political correctness.
Yeah, that's a rare thing you really have to go back pretty far for that. And before we go too far, we did a road trip from Texas. We stopped in Louisiana to pick up a great patriot. He's on YouTube. His name is Hippies for Trump. Hippies #4 Trump. Guys, go to his YouTube and follow Hippies for Trump. He's out here with us from Louisiana. And thank you so much, Owen, for having us on. This was a great protest. We missed you guys.
Whoa, hippies for Trump. Now, hold on a second. I think actually I think President Trump is missing a very, very large voter base here. I'm not making a joke. You can call them hippies or call them whatever you want. But it's all around one issue, and that's legalization of marijuana. I guarantee you if the president legalized marijuana or started moving for, just with his bully pulpit, the legalization of marijuana, I bet he would turn out millions of voters that wouldn't have voted the day before. What do you think?
What do you think, hippies?
Well, yeah, you're right about that, but I think really the conservative movement needs to take back conservationalism, and we're missing a lot of that. We're allowing kids to fall to the propaganda of people like Greta Thunberg or Leonardo DiCaprio. And really, you know, we all just need to get involved, recycle, and do things like that. Conservatism and conservationalism goes together, and more of that kind of style, and really, you know, take care of what we gave dominion over, you know.
Yeah,
Very
man,
well
legalize
said.
that weed, you know.
Very well said. He's actually right. And that's
doctor.
something that Michael Savage talks about a lot, too. Yes, this is the official medical staff here. Thank you so much, doctors. The official doctors of the InfoWars War Room out there in Atlanta protesting against the CDC. Doctors, we know you're really busy. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us here on the War Room, official War Room medical staff. We thank you.
Be on the lookout for our TikTok video coming out next week. Thanks, Owen.
Yes. Oh, I just love the TikTok dance videos. I mean, just completes my day every time when I'm seeing Americans suffer and go broke and sit inside and get arrested. And then the nurses dance on TikTok. Oh, it's just what would we do without our great nurses? Again, folks, I'm being facetious. I'm not trying to attack nurses here. Nurses are great people. I know a lot of nurses. But the whole dance TikTok thing, it actually is going to turn out to be, this has been going on with nurses for a long time. I mentioned one broadcast before how there's the old nurses playing cards all day thing that they were spatting on last year. So, hey, maybe nurses have a lot of downtime. That's not my bone to pick. But it has certainly hurt, I think, people to sit here and watch nurses dancing on TikTok. Not that it's even the nurse's fault when they're either suffering personally from the, maybe they do have coronavirus, or probably more likely they're just suffering financially, psychologically because of the shutdown, which we're all kind of at that breaking point now. And that's the thing too, is all the like friends that I'm talking to, the ones that not even really politically involved, but you know, something happens in politics, they know I have a talk show, so they kind of feel me out for the subject. And the people in the beginning were like, oh, this is really bad. Like, oh, you know, you shouldn't fly. Oh, I'm going to stay home. Oh, I'm going to quarantine. Oh, I'm not going to work. Like, all the people in the beginning that were like that are now like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm ready to kick the door down and go back outside. And it really is. In fact, I was just talking to Sam on the crew, and he should come on and tell the story now. Because, folks, I'm looking for something fresh. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Coming on here every day telling you about how the media's lying and Democrats want to kill this country, and then the collusion with the globalists and Bill. It's like, again, I've been on this record for years, okay? Everything InfoWars has been telling you has been 110% proven correct, and it's like I can sit here and beat my head against the wall, and we do have a new audience every day. And so that is part of the role. But another part of me is like, look, I can't do it. I'm going insane. I feel like I'll lose audience because I'm saying the same things every day. So it's like I'm just trying to find ways to mix it up. And I told the crew, hey, you got a funny story about this coronavirus stuff. And so Sam, during the break, he was like, hey, that's weird you were saying that about Austin, because I was in St. Louis, nobody was wearing a mask. I was at airports, not many people wearing a mask. But in Austin, it's like wherever I go, everyone's wearing a mask, heckling you over a mask. Sam, you were in San Marcos, about 30-so miles south of Austin, and you were saying it was not Mask City.
Yeah, I had a great time with some friends. We went to a restaurant. Everybody was sitting at the bar. Actually, even tipped the waitress a little more because she said she didn't like wearing her mask. So I thought that was pretty cool. But everybody in San Marcos, as far as the people, were basically wanting to get back to normal, like you said. Now, I did try to go to the river, and they had it fenced off, and cops were patrolling the river.
The San Marcos Magic River?
I mean, they're locking up God's gift, so I don't know.
Okay, but seriously, this is like an old urban legend that like the San Marcos River like gives you like It's like revitalization or something. The river, Colorado River in Austin, Ladyburg Lake, that's busy. But you're telling me in San Marcos they have that river blocked off?
Totally blocked off. Actually, I kind of got caught getting in the river by the cops, but you know, it took a while for them to find me. But the point is, everybody should be able to go to the river.
So that's ridiculous. Fenced off with police?
Yeah, fenced off with police.
Like, who makes that order?
I don't know. I think the university thinks they own that part of the river. Or something
Sorry,
like that.
You're not allowed to get in that river there.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the guy said. And I laughed at him. He was trying to tell me it was a federal regulation, too, like a federal law that I couldn't swim in the river.
But weren't you getting harassed, too, at the bar because you were like 3 feet away from some guy? He cursed you out?
That was something else that happened to me same day. So I was at Pete Terry's here in Austin, and I was just getting some food, and they forgot something in my order. So I went back to the window, and I was already standing away from the guy a little bit. You know, I had some space.
No, but you weren't 6 feet away, so screw you, bigot.
DNA Force has been sold out for months, but now it's back in stock and 50% off when it comes to boosting your body's natural defenses. DNA Force Plus is at the top of my list. The ingredients in this are incredible. PQQ, CoQ10, astragalus root, reishi mushroom, and so much more. Next up is Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula with up to 95% curcuminoids in it. This is a concentrated extract with 2 other ingredients to supercharge it and deliver it into your body's cells. Don't have to tell you about turmeric and its history and the fact that the average turmeric out there is about 3 to 5% and it's still amazing. This is the strongest turmeric that we could find and develop and get into your hands. It's amazing, and it funds the InfoWar, and it's 40% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com. In the time we have, I can't get into all the amazing ingredients in Living Defense, but look into black walnut for yourself. You want to flesh your body out? You want to energize? I'm telling you, listeners go crazy with this. You got to go read the reviews for yourself. It's amazing. Living Defense is also 40% off. Do I need to tell you about zinc and how important it is, or the other vitamins and minerals? It's in the Real Red Pill. It's in the Real Red Pill Plus. This is an absolute must-have, not just in these crazy times, but all the time. Essential vitamins and minerals with pregnenolone, the Real Red Pill. And then there's triiodine. This is a basic building block. Do your research. Triiodine, InfoWarsLife.com, X3, selling out, but I lowered the price to 60% because you and your family need this. And you can get all this and a lot more at huge discounts at InfoWarsStore.com.
Hey, you there. The battle for the Republic is on. The American Revolution 2.0 is happening right now. But the corrupt establishment doesn't want you to know, and they certainly don't want you to get involved. But you can at band.video. The truth lives at band.video. The information they don't want you to see is at band.video. This is your destiny. This is the epic battle for the future of humanity. America will survive as long as you fight. I've got to go.